Hello to all of my T&D subscribers, T&D readers. This is Bradley Harris, staff writer for the Times-Democrat, covering government, sports, and politics. And today I'm here to talk to you about my top 5 stories of 2020. My first story on the list is my interview with President-elect Joe Biden. This interview took place during President-elect Biden's visit to Orangeburg, specifically his attendance at the David Pasco Oyster Roast held at the Orangeburg County Fairgrounds. This is my number one story to me for many reasons. First, I feel that it was a great achievement and a high milestone in my early journalism career. Being able to say that I sat down one-on-one and interviewed the President-elect is something that I will always cherish and something I will never forget as a journalist. The interview was very interesting to me. I was able to ask him a couple of questions pertaining to some of his policies and how they would impact rural areas and areas like Orangeburg. The event overall was very interesting. It gave me a lot of insight on what a lot of political journalists go through in terms of covering the campaign trail, and that being a busy time, especially during the Democratic primaries. My second story of 2020 that I have in high regard is my story covering the Samaritan House reopening. For those of you who don't know, the Samaritan House was a shelter located in the city of Orangeburg that provided amenities and different sheltering and things like that for the homeless population in Orangeburg and the surrounding areas. A few years ago, the Samaritan House had to shut down due to a lack of funding, and that was a big blow to the community. And through the efforts of the current mayor of the city of Orangeburg, Mayor Michael Butler, as well as Ms. Brenda Jamerson and many others, they put in years of work working towards reopening the Samaritan House, and eventually the work paid off and they were able to reopen the Samaritan House. And not only did they reopen it, they were able to reopen it in a better state than it was before. And that story was very rewarding to me as well. Just being able to sit down and talk with Mayor Butler, Ms. Jamerson, and others involved, and being able to chronicle their story and their journey from the beginning of assessing the building and realizing how much damage had been done to their work that they put in, their diligent work, and then to see the looks on their faces, the priceless looks on their faces that they were able to reopen was something that I'll never forget as well. To me, that was just a very important story as well to cover and let people know that the city of Orangeburg has different things going on, some positive things going on within the community. My next story, my number 3 story, is the city of Orangeburg's city council's decision to remove the Confederate statue located downtown and to rename John C. Calhoun Drive. This was probably my most read story and the story that I had the most interactions with, especially on Facebook, the social media app Facebook. Readers were very involved and many readers took to Facebook to express their opinion on the council's decision. This decision came during a time of a lot of civil unrest within the country, and the council felt that it was best to remove the Confederate statue located downtown and also rename John C. Calhoun Drive due to racial tension and other things, civil unrest. It kind of followed a national trend of a lot of cities and towns, especially in the Deep South, that had names or statues commemorating Confederate figures from the past. The mayor, talking with him, he felt that it was a good decision. He felt that it was a needed change, and so did the council. It sparked a lot of unrest, I would say, maybe not physically within the streets or within the city, but a lot of online unrest, a lot of varying opinions, especially online, people expressing their disdain for the decision, people also expressing their support for the decision. To me, it was a very A timely story, an important story, and like I said, it was my most read and most interactive story of the year. My number 4 story is a project that I am personally ready and eager to see completed, and that is the beginning of the construction of the new Orangeburg County Library. For those of you who don't know, the county has begun construction on a new library complex, not just a library, but a complex which will include an amphitheater, a conference center, and many other things for the community. It's going to be located on Russell Street and where the former Piggly Wiggly was located. It's a very big project for the county, a very big deal for the citizens, but also a big deal for the county council members, the county administrator, Mr. Harold Young, and all of those other county officials who are involved, and as well as Orangeburg County Library Director Anna Zacherl. Speaking with them, they've just shown so much excitement about the project coming together, just beginning the project, that process of how important they believe it will be and how much of a positive impact it will have on the Orangeburg community. And I believe this story was very well read because of the interest, and people have been looking for an upgrade in the library, and construction has begun, and that upgrade will be coming next year in 2021. My 5th story was something that was also personal to me. It was my story profiling 2 fellow Claflin University alumni, Natron Maxwell and Parise Ledbetter, who I had the opportunity to attend school with them while I was at Claflin. I know them the two of them personally, and this story was interesting to me. It was also during the time of civil unrest following protests in response to the death of George Floyd. And I talked with these 2 young men who are photographers, and they were able to chronicle protests in Charleston and Columbia through their camera lens. And so I talked with them personally, individually, about their pictures that they took during the protests, their opinion of the protests going on and the civil unrest at the time and what was going on in the country, and also about the scene of the protests, how they felt, what was the feeling. And to me, this was a very rewarding story because it allowed me to tie in the civil unrest and the protests into the Orangeburg community by being able to link those protests in other cities back to Orangeburg because of Claflin University alumni who were able to chronicle those protests. And like I said, this was a very personal story and something that was very rewarding, and I was glad to see this story printed in the paper. This concludes my top 5 stories for 2020. I hope that you all go back and look at the collection that we have online and read each one of these stories. And please provide feedback and comment as well. Give me a call. Let me know what you think of the stories. All of that is welcome. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your 2020. Happy holidays.